Welcome to the Halloween spooktacular episode of It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. Today we're going to be talking about the scariest thing of all, politics. I'm your host, Red Drumarts. Why don't you other guys introduce yourself?
Alright, I'm gonna throw up a disclaimer. The fact that he said Halloween, it's just that we're recording this on Halloween. This is gonna go up on like the first week of November. But hi, how you doing? I'm Lugia, and politics, am I right? Alright.
Hi, my name is Patrick, and my favorite fruit is a pear. Also, bananas. I like bananas.
Also, this movie isn't really political. It's just about a school election, not like a presidential election.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. First, let's talk about some entertainment things that happened this week. Okay, so guys, as you know, the last fighter for Smash Brothers recently came out, and I guess with that meaning Smash Ultimate is basically over. I guess other developers have decided, you know what, let's take matters into our own hands and make our own Smash Brothers games,
If they're not gonna put Goku in Smash, we will.
Because apparently this week it was rumored that a Smash clone featuring Warner Brothers properties is in development. A Warner Smash Brothers, if you will.
Yes. From what I saw the screenshot of like the base roster, I believe. So there was some DC characters, Batman, Superman,
Bugs
Wonder
Bunny,
Woman.
You got Rick from Rick and Morty. You got Tom and Jerry.
I got Steven Universe, which is
Bugs
interesting.
Bunny.
Finn and Jake from Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is just a rumor. There's no confirmation of this. I find it funny though. We have a Nickelodeon fighting game. We had a Cartoon Network fighting game. Now we're getting another. I guess Warner Bros. Is taking another shot at a fighting game. I don't know. But again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. When's the Disney fighting game? That's a huge roster right there.
I guess. I think we'll get it. Maybe it'll probably be a Kingdom Hearts related, honestly, if we ever get one.
So we got a little bit of an update on the Sonic 2 movie. Not much of an update. The only thing we got confirmation of is that apparently Knuckles, voiced by Idris Elba, will not sound sexy. He's throwing that out there.
No, Idris said that he doesn't think the Knuckles voice is going to be sexy, but I don't know if he really has control over that. So we'll see.
He might be being too hard on himself. Who knows?
I don't know. I have a quote here from an interview where he said, "Honestly, I can't say anything contractually. I can't." But yeah. I won't say he was sexy. I'm going to be sure about that. He won't be sexy.
Yes, but unfortunately, Nipples the enchilada he's a being that just radiates sex, so it just has no control.
Listen, if they're gonna give him back the cowboy hat from the Sonic OVA, of course he's gonna be fucking sexy.
Yeah.
Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle.
It's called Drip Sweaty. Speaking of animation, the Lightyear trailer dropped. Mm-hmm. And there's been some confusion over exactly what Lightyear is, because Chris Evans says it takes place in the real world. It's what the toy's based on. But everyone was like, "What do you mean the real world? You mean aliens and internet galactic space travel existed in the Toy Story universe?" Sounds
the way I understand it is that it's like a movie in the Toy Story world.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like it's a movie based on a toy created for a movie. So I guess this is like a movie in the Toy Story world. Not a Toy Story movie, but
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought this was like an like how the Transformers movie is adapted to the Transformers cartoon. That's what I thought. Like, that's what I thought this was gonna be. But for some reason, like the director and the actors, the way they're talking about the movie is just needlessly confusing. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So this isn't Toy Story 5. This is something else.
I'm just gonna assume this is its own thing because I don't really know how to assess it.
Okay, here's what it is.
It's unrelated to the previous 4 films.
Here's the thing. Pixar wanted to make just a random sci-fi movie, and I'm guessing the execs just told them, "Hey, slap Buzz Lightyear on there for money." Let's be real. That's what happens.
But going off of what I saw in the teaser, it looks to be like a cross between Top Gun and Star Wars, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, which is funny because Disney already announced they're going to be making a crossover between Top Gun and Star Wars, kind of.
Wait, they did?
Patty Jenkins is directing a Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie, and I'm like, Yeah, that's basically just Top Gun Star Wars. It's gonna be following a bunch of like X-wing fighters.
I've seen a lot of memes of like hyper realistic Buzz Lightyear and toy Buzz Lightyear.
I've
yeah,
seen a lot of memes comparing them to like the Smash Brothers renders.
Yeah, it's like
Like
it's like
Yeah,
64 is
Smash
Toy Story
Brawl.
2 on PS1, Melee is Toy Story 1, Brawl is Lightyear.
You know what it reminded me of?
What it remind you of?
Hey Peter.
Joe Swanson.
Yeah. Which is funny because Patrick Warburton did voice Buzz in the cartoon. Remember
Yeah,
the
but this,
Buzz Lightyear
yeah,
Star Command cartoon?
yeah. So this ain't humanity's first Lightyear solo adventure, because there was a direct-to-video
Hopefully
movie.
it means more than Solo.
Yeah. Plus there's the Toy Story 2 video game.
I've never played it.
It's pretty good. It's on PlayStation. It's one of the licensed games that people, remember fondly. Yeah.
I can't really base a solid opinion yet on what Lightyear's presenting, since we don't really have a grasp of like what the story's going to be, but I'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Yeah, maybe. I might check it out. I probably won't, but I might.
We'll see.
I said the same thing about Dune, and I ended up watching and loving Dune. So yeah. And speaking of which, Dune Part
Speaking
2
of
got
Dune,
announced.
yes, Dune 2 is officially happening. Warner Brothers was happy with how it's been performing in theaters. It's been a pretty big hit. I think it's #1 at the box office as of recording.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
we
doing
are, so yeah,
incredibly well.
we're
I mean,
doing.
I think it already made it back its budget before it even debuted in America. Like worldwide, it did incredibly well, and
Well, I
then
do know it came out like a month earlier in other countries, so
like 2 weeks earlier.
yeah. So
Um,
it's officially coming out in 2023, so 2 years
yeah.
from now.
Actually, just some brief news related to Dune. Timothy Chalamet's gotten a bunch of really good press because his I guess past got revealed as Timothy Chalamet has recently outed as a gamer, giving him a lot of oppression points as people now understand uh the struggle it's been. Nah, he apparently people found out his old YouTube channel from middle school where it's called like Moda Controller 360 or
Oh
whatever.
boy, a middle school YouTube channel.
Yeah, so he
Oh boy.
basically used to spray paint Xbox controllers and sell them, and it was like that's kind of funny. And people are also joking that he basically admitted that he used to play like Modern Warfare 2 a lot, and people like, oh shit, he Timothy Chalamet's praying to God every day that the logs on Modern Warfare 2 don't get released.
And
You
now
guys
he's
are
Willy Wonka.
you guys are aware of like the Xbox Live memes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the memes that everyone's
A little
racist on
bit.
Xbox Live.
the
Um,
Wild West of gaming culture.
yeah. I
So,
did some digging on Timothy Chalamet, and I found out that this a bunch of really funny videos where he I guess in high school he wanted to be a rapper, so he's made a couple rap music videos. It's the funniest shit. He,
again with the middle school stuff.
yeah, he went. No, this was high school.
Oh,
Man,
okay.
he went by Timmy Tim, like Marky
God.
Mark. Just funny shit. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
boy. Yeah, people
Do you
think they
ever
are just
think
like
he looks back on those days with regret or pride?
I don't know. But let's
I
be
don't
real.
know.
We all have those phases where like we think we're like the coolest of the cool, when in
Yeah, what I
actuality
have
we're
to
just kind
say
of the
though
lamest of the lame.
is that it's incredibly funny because when Timothy Chalamet hit this scene acting wise, his image was like as a shy, sensitive boy. And then you're watching like his actual videos from high school, and like he's not a shy, sensitive boy. He's the weird like extrovert kid in high school that would like do funny shit. Like no, he wasn't shy. He was like me. He was the fucking dork.
Okay, moving away from Timothy. This past week, Facebook officially changed its company name. It is now Meta.
Yeah.
They're going through some rebranding. This is in reference to the metaverse that they're trying to create.
Yeah, they're
Um,
really leaning into VR. Apparently, Meta is having NFT support, which is unfortunate. I think it's a bad idea though because most of Facebook's audience are old people, and like you just kind of change your whole company's name. That's just going to be confusing. People are
well,
going to try to
this
log into the Facebook and
Soon
and
Facebook will be the next MySpace.
I'm just
Uh,
saying.
you know,
I'm just saying. In the next week, I have a feeling a lot of kids are gonna get calls from their parents being like, "Honey, how do I log into Facebook? It's not. What happened?"
well, at least this will give them content to work with if they ever make a sequel to the Social Network. I don't
How
know.
would you even do a modern Mark Zuckerberg performance? Like he's like a robot. I saw a clip of him and it was the funniest
Yeah,
shit.
there was a clip of him when he was gonna answer the door. He sounded like one of those Nintendo presenters, but dubbed
Yeah,
over in English.
yeah, it sounded like they just got another guy to do voice over
Except
him.
the problem is that's his native language.
Yeah, it
It
sounds like he
sounded
was
so
out of sync.
unnatural.
How are you out of sync speaking normally? It's like a ventriloquist. Anyway, I guess the last bit of news is very talented and successful comedian Mort Saul passed away. This has been a horrible year for comedy because like goddamn, all the legends are either completely bombing like Chappelle or literally passing away like Mort Saul, Norton McDonald, Trevor Moore, even Bob Odenkirk was hospitalized. Luckily he pulled through. But like damn, this is real shame. Anyway, guys, ready to jump into the movie?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, so Election came out in 1999. It's directed by Alexander Payne, or I understand, Patrick, you're familiar with his latest movie, Downsizing?
Yeah. But I'm also aware of the movie Sideways. I've seen that movie at my library. Never actually checked it out though. But I'm aware of
Yes,
it.
that's how I got introduced to Alexander Payne. I'm a big fan of the movie Sideways. It's an interesting movie.
So yeah, I'm aware of Alexander Payne, but like I don't really know much about his work.
Yeah, well, I feel like now you got a good idea because Election is my favorite Alexander Payne movie. In fact, it's currently in my top 5 favorite movies like ever. Currently in my top 5 is well, my top 4 on Letterboxd is Perfect Blue, No Country for Old Men, Chunking Express, and Election. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. This was based on a novel by Tom Perrotta, which was actually I don't know when it was written. When was the novel written?
I don't know.
1998. Okay, so it was just 1 year after. So that was a
Hmm.
very quick turnaround. It looks like the novel
Yeah.
rights were actually sold before the novel came out, which was interesting. The novel was inspired by 2 key events. The one was the 1992 U.S. president election, in which Ross Perot entered a third-party candidate, which was what Tammy Metzler's character was basically a parody of. And the
Mm-hmm.
second was a 1992 incident at Memorial High School, in which a pregnant student was elected homecoming queen, but staff announced a different winner and burned up the ballots to cover it up. Apparently, Obama has mentioned that this movie is his favorite political film, which I find oddly incredibly funny, considering how much Tracy Fleck is such an obvious parody of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Movie's critically acclaimed, got 92% Rotten Tomatoes, and it was not a box office success, but has only grossing 17 million against a $25 million budget, but it has since gained a cult following. It's considered to be one of the greatest comedies of all time.
That plot synopsis.
Yeah, brief plot synopsis. So basically, Jim McCaster, played by Matthew Broderick, is a popular civics teacher at a no a high school in Omaha, Nebraska. One of his students is called Tracy Fleck, who's an overachieving student, and also prior to the events of the film, basically was dating his best friend, which obviously Tracy was the victim there, but being a dark comedy, Jim believes otherwise and basically despises Tracy. Anyway, the movie is basically about the student body election. So Tracy runs, Matthew basically because he just hates Tracy, encourages another student to run, and because of that student's own personal family issues, his sister then runs against him. His sister being gay, and basically the person she was in love with starts dating her brother to basically get back at her. Speaking of relationships, Matthew Broderick's character is also trying for a baby, but eventually basically cheats on his wife with her best friend. leading to his marriage falling apart. Basically, the entire movie is just about Jim McAllister's entire life falling apart, and this whole movie is basically just about a bunch of awful people. The only good person in the movie is Paul, and yeah,
Because he mostly has no idea what's even going on.
yeah,
He's just
like
kind of going with it.
yeah, Paul's one of those like golden retriever type people where he's kind of just a total idiot, but he's written like a dog. He's like Homer Simpson, but like as a jock. By the way, the one of the most prolific writers of The Simpsons in her interview literally said the way he writes Homer Simpson is that he basically imagines a dog as a person. This big, dumb, happy dude. But
Who
yeah,
chokes his own son.
yes. Well, nothing like good old domestic violence to bring out the family chuckles. Um,
Something that dogs do.
yeah, doesn't everyone have memories of when the dog started mauling the youngest child? Just started gnawing on your arms. Nah, okay. Yeah, what'd you guys think of the movie? Bit of a dark comedy, I know.
I'll admit, I was not expecting this movie to be as sexual as it was.
Okay, yeah. Red, you did not warn us about what kind of content this movie would have.
I said it was a dark comedy.
You said it was a dark comedy and that was it. You didn't say like what its themes were or if there was going to be anything sexual.
It'd be kind of off-putting to be like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a pedophile angle to this movie, and I'm like, how do I explain that away? Like, it's not like American Beauty because I feel like it'd
Considering
be misleading.
almost everything else you've recommended, I wouldn't put it past you just to say something like that.
No, Red. Here's when I say that, I'm not upset. I'm just kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
to be fair, when I first saw the movie, I had no idea there was this angle. I went in expecting something like Mean Girls or Rushmore, and it is like Mean Girls and Rushmore, but like much darker, basically.
No. The thing is, the movie starts and like the first 8 minutes, I'm like, all right, this is pretty standard. And then Dave says his first line, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be that type of movie.
I know. I was like, oh shit, like okay.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be one of those movies.
I mean,
bit more accessible than But I'm a Cheerleader, though. You gotta give me that at least.
I mean, yeah.
Still got a lesbian, but nobody makes a big deal out of it.
And there's a whole student-teacher relationship going on.
Yeah.
I feel like that was supposed to be kind of like a parallel to the Monica Lewinsky thing.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like that could be like, I don't know.
No, I feel like just in general, this is kind of a.
I don't know. There were a few parallels to political things. Like at the end of the movie, Roderick's character resigns following a scandal, kind of like Nixon.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is kind of like the whole thing kind of reminds me of the 2016 election, where you got this hardworking woman trying to run for president and this doofus who gets by on popularity.
Yes, but they're also both kind of. Well, I would say it's like the 2016 election. The difference is though, is like Paul's a good person.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
he's not an asshole.
And they got like Tracy, I'd say Tracy is one of the lesser bad people in the movies, but she is still kind of a bad person considering framing Tammy and all that, and basically lying and all the opportunist stuff. But same time, she's also a victim, so I'm not like mad at her per se, because whatever, she's a kid. Ultimately, the adults in her life failed her.
But I'd say overall, I actually really liked this movie.
Yeah,
I was surprised on how much I liked this too.
Yeah. Exactly. Like when I watched this movie just like on a whim. I was like, yeah, I want to check out the Alexander Payne thing. I was like, this movie is like really funny. All the characters are incredibly interesting.
I think helping that is the overall like editing style, like how they constantly freeze frame and narrate and explain like each character's backstory.
Yeah, it's got a very snappy pace. It's like
It kind honestly, I know like you bring up like Mean Girls and stuff like that, but honestly, it kind of reminded me of I, Tonya. Because you got like these.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is kind of like a Scorsese almost in a way.
Because you got like these not great people constantly explaining their sides of the story.
Yeah, it's like Goodfellas. I think Reese Witherspoon gave like a career best here. I think this is probably my favorite performance from her, like ever.
Reese Witherspoon is great, and she is great here.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick's pretty good. I always find it funny how Matthew Broderick basically got his career started with Ferris Bueller, where he played someone really cool, and in every other movie he's played a complete loser, which is kind of funny. And the other casts are pretty good. No real. Those were the two big names. We got Chris Klein, who was in who played Paul. He was in some of the American Pie movies, but that was basically it. That's the only other big name involved.
I didn't really recognize anybody else casting wise.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mainly recognized Broderick and Witherspoon.
Yeah, I do like though how all the high school students actually look like high school students. Like the kid that was doing the counting for the vote at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I straight up thought like I think they just got an actual high school student for that because he looks like a kid like he looks like kids I've seen in school. Like it was crazy.
Speaking
But
of that kid, the way he talked was so creepy. He's like, "No, I'm really sure. I counted everything. I was right, Mr. McAllister. Come on."
I don't know.
It was
I mean,
funny.
He was right too.
It's kind of like he's a fucking control freak, but at the same time, it also felt unnatural. But I guess that's the point.
Yeah. Funny
Like
seeing Matthew Broderick's sort of degradation. He's clearly like respected at the beginning, and then by the end, no one even like acknowledges him.
I do find it kind of funny how at the end of the movie he kind of parallels Tracy in that he monologues that like I could have went up to her and like punched her in the face for all the mean things she's done, but I didn't. I took it calm, collectively. I'm cool about it. And he throws his soda at her car.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Tracy was like, I'm not mad that Paul is running. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and then you got the final shot of the movie where she sees the overachieving girl at the museum, and
Yes, it's like, here we
he's like,
go again.
yeah, this almost feels like almost Shakespearean the way like the whole interweaving plots and the sort of tragic angle to it.
Yeah.
There was definitely a constant theme about not being able to change the future, which they kind of straight up tell you, destiny.
Yeah, this whole movie is basically trying to say that the Tracy Flecks they basically run the world, and it's just inevitable.
Yeah.
They'll never be popular or well liked, but they will never be defeated.
Again, going back to what I said before, this movie is more sexual than I thought it would be. But I mean, like, sometimes it's like really funny. Other times I'm like, should I be finding this as funny as I do? Like the scene where Jim is having sex with his wife and Tracy appears in his head.
Oh yeah.
And she with a deadpan voice, she's like, "Fuck me harder, Mr. M."
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That cracked me up more than it probably should have.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting choice of the movie is just called Election and not The Election, because I feel like the movie is kind of like metaphorically just about like decisions in general in life, not just about the student body election, but sort of like other parts in their personal lives too. Let's see. Who is your favorite character, by the way?
Probably Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is the only likable character, but I feel like having him be a favorite kind of dismisses the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I just liked how confident he was and but also clueless and saying everything.
I kind of like Jim the most, thinking back. Even though he is a big piece of shit.
So,
like he cheats on his wife and he tries to rig a student election. I mean, granted, he has his own reasons for doing the latter, but still.
What I find interesting about this movie is that it's like unfortunately relatable. Like this reminded me of high school a lot. Like, and I feel like every school has a Tracy Flick. Like I know mine did. Did yours?
Maybe, but honestly,
there were a couple popular kids.
Tracy wasn't really popular. It was just more so like the overachieving student that
probably, but
in everything.
I likely didn't pay any mind.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I found like none of the characters are really likable except Paul, but they're all compelling. Like I don't get this idea that characters have to be likable for a thing to work, because
these characters are despite how terrible they are really interesting.
Yeah, that's sort of like a staple of Alexander Payne. Like in Sideways, those are not good people either. Like those are terrible human beings. But
I was reminded more of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, that's another thing. Scott Pilgrim, like Scott and Ramona, they're not good people.
But they're made for each other.
Yeah. I thought visually it looked pretty good. I liked the how it was shot. Obviously, the editing is sort of the highlight of the movie, but
Mhm.
and the writing, obviously, but yeah. Overall, I thought it was pretty great.
This,
It actually received an Oscar nod. I forgot to mention that for best screenplay, and I was like, yeah, makes sense.
I have one more thing to say. This is incredibly minor, but the opening kind of threw me off because like you hear like and it's revealed to be like a lawn sprinkler, and I'm like, oh, is this gonna lead into like a song or something? And then but then it cuts away from the sprinkler and the sound it's making, and it starts like the musical score, but it's like in a different time signature, and I'm like, oh, okay. I thought that the sprinkler was gonna like lead into a song.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't know. Now, again, it's minor, but like it kind of threw me off. I'm like, what?
Yes, subverting expectations.
That was weird though. Why did it start off on the lawn sprinkler?
I do
So,
have one
we're
complaint
never
with
we're
this
never
movie
we're
when it
never
comes
on the
to.
football field, so it's
Yeah.
odd. I don't know.
So we didn't talk about one of the characters, Lisa. So it's established earlier that Lisa and Tammy, well, more or less Tammy is in love with Lisa, but at one point Lisa's kind of fed up and just leaves her. So why
Yeah.
does Lisa make out with her brother instead? Wouldn't she want to get away from Tammy's family in general?
No, I think she wanted to specifically like get back at Tammy.
Plus, she should know
Or
that
maybe
Tammy's
or
still
it's also one
madly
of
in
those
love
like
with her, given all the
yeah.
messages she's given her.
I think like they were trying to show like cuz even at the end she leaves Paul for one of his friends on the football team. I think like they were just trying to say that's kind of Lisa's personality, just basically leaving people for people they're close to. Like I think that's just the kind of person she is. So, another example of a kind of shitty human being.
Also, can we just talk for a minute about how there's a lesbian character in this movie and nobody pays it any mind? Like
Yeah,
there's a scene where
if anything, the only
like
person that reacts is
her locker's open and she's like, I don't want anybody to see this. I don't want them to know we're a thing. If people are walking by, nobody cares.
yeah, it's
I'm
all
like,
just in Lisa's head.
yeah, I'm like, good. Good nobody's making a big deal out of it because it's not a big deal.
Who knew that the movie about a pedophile teacher would be so progressive? So apparently there was an alternate ending of this movie, which I thought was interesting. I do not know where it is, but it's interesting. It's apparently faithful to the book, where Jim stays in Omaha, is hired as a used car salesman by one of his former students instead of moving to New York. And then Tracy encounters Jim while looking to buy a car, and the two settle the differences before she has him sign her yearbook. But I don't know. Personally, I think the movie's ending is just kind of more fitting, makes more sense, fits more with this sort of consequence angle, but also it's not like I don't know. I thought it was there's a lot more to chew on with the actual film's ending.
If I had a nickel for every Reese Witherspoon movie I've seen where she's in school and she ends up in government, I'd have 2 nickels. Just isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, I mean,
This and
this would make
Legally
an
Blonde.
interesting pairing with Legally Blonde. Yeah,
Legally Blonde is obviously the more lighthearted movie.
yeah. Reese Witherspoon's character is likable in that one, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I'd give this
Election.
a 10 out of 10. I love this movie.
I was yeah, I was surprised that I liked this movie as much as I did, even with all like the sexual stuff. It didn't bother me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of
Bother
just
me.
got numb to it by this point, but surprisingly, how the sex scenes were handled, kind
Yeah.
of funny, which is
Yeah.
weird to say, but I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, consider like conceptually a lot of like these jokes and scenes are like, how would I find this funny? But no, I I actually got quite a few good laughs out of this.
I gave this an 8.5. I might bump that up to a 9. I don't know, kind of
Yeah.
stuck in the middle there, but I enjoyed this regardless. This was really good.
Yeah. No, I thought it was fantastic. What about you, Patrick?
I don't do number scores.
Right.
I
Right. Yeah.
think we established. I just said I really enjoyed this movie. I'm pretty much in the same boat as you guys.
Yeah.
Coward.
Ranking
Well,
wise, this is basically towards sort of the top half. Honestly, this might be one of my favorite movies that we've probably talked about so far. I mean, I did say
well,
it's in my like
it
top
is in your
10.
top
Yeah.
five movies of all time. So it would make sense if this was one of your favorites we've talked about.
Yeah, I think I've given 5 movies a 10 out of 10 so far. Election, Pulp Fiction, The Matrix, The Handmaiden, and Apocalypse Now. So that should give you a good idea of what I think about it. If you like this movie, some other movies you can check out is obviously Mean Girls and Rushmore. I've already talked about those two a bit. Rushmore's by
Also,
Wes
I,
Anderson,
Tanya.
so it's a bit stylized. Yes, I, Tanya, and some Scorsese movies like Wolf of Wall Street. Definitely, because Wolf of Wall Street's like a dark comedy about terrible people. I consider Heathers maybe. Um, Sideways, obviously, we mentioned that. That's another Alexander Payne movie, and he also made a movie called Citizen Ruth, which deals with high school again. So check out that. I have not seen that, but it seems thematically similar. American Beauty, that's another one. Deals with high school and shitty pedophile people. Which this one also came out in 1999. So kind of weird that there were two movies like
If
that
I
that
had a
came out the
nickel
same
for the
year.
amount of movies, no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Then you got Thank You for Smoking, which is a pretty fun dark comedy. I actually put two other Scorsese movies here, After Hours and King of Comedy, because they're kind of they're his dark comedies. In the Loop, which is probably my favorite political movie. Like after this, the dark comedy Happiness, which from I haven't seen, but I've heard it compared a lot. Also, Welcome to the Dollhouse, which I heard are much darker than this. So, you know. And lastly, the movie Network, which is actually we might talk about Network in the future, so remember that one.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I believe
All
it's
right,
your
Lugia, it's
recommendation,
your
Lugia.
turn.
Okay. So we have
And
had a
if-
very impressive streak of good, albeit some decent movies. That stopped today.
Oh
All right.
boy, we're heading into bad territory
We're
again.
gonna
It's been a
go
while.
in the bottom of the barrel, my friend.
The
But I'll give you
bottom
guys
of
a
the
choice.
Neil
Oh, we
Breen.
have a choice. Oh
No.
boy.
I was thinking about doing a Neil Breen movie, but I think I'll wait on that.
Not
All
today.
right.
So,
Today's not the day.
do you want?
With Bulk or Manos?
All right, don't let me
All right,
say
sorry,
my
sorry.
thing.
All right, go.
So, do you want to watch a live action movie or an animated movie?
Depends.
Honestly, I'm gonna vote animated.
All right.
I'm gonna vote live action just because I'm afraid the anime movie is gonna be food fight.
All right, shall we? How are we gonna do this?
Just
Well,
reveal it, and
yes.
we
What
can
are the
change your
choices?
votes, I guess.
Okay. So, Red, you were right. The animated one will be Food Fight,
Okay.
and the live action one is the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie.
All right. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, food fight. I'll change my vote.
Yeah, why
Damn it.
not? Let's do food fight.
All right.
I had a feeling this day would come, but
Yeah, this is one of the few bad movies we've seen together. Actually, I'm pretty
we
sure.
have seen this.
No,
movie
I saw this
together.
by myself one time,
no,
but we have seen it at some point.
Oh boy, gentlemen,
Yeah.
it's our world.
Oh God.
It's my life. Oh, I remember when this movie was all over the internet.
Thanks,
Yeah.
John.
Actually, John Tron and Doug Walker. Good lord.
So okay, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Food
Doug.
fight.
That's the inevitable Doug Walker tie-in. We can never escape.
No, we're not. We're not talking about. Okay, food fight. We'll probably talk about the Mario movie one day, but no, not yet. Oh, boy.
So yeah,
I had to break the streak, all right?
And
no,
We
I
had to
get it.
stop reviewing good movies.
Yeah.
because
Anyway,
quality gets boring sometimes.
Yeah, Food Fight is like easily available on YouTube because no one
No
no
one
one
wants to
cares.
no one wants to be associated with it.
No one's copyright striking this movie.
No.
So long everyone, and I can't wait to start campaigning.